Hello everyone and welcome back to The Grind. In today's video, we're going to be finding out what Rust will be like and if it will perform badly on Switch as ARK did. But before we do, please consider leaving a like on the video and subscribing to the channel for more videos like this and much more. Click the bell icon too so that you don't miss out on any future videos. And with that out of the way, let's get straight into the video. Okay, so Rust has established itself as one of, if not the very best survival game on PC. It has been around for years, and yet it has continued to gain popularity, especially in recent times, you know, with all the streaming stuff. Back in 2019, it was announced that PC would not be the only platform where players can experience Rust. Players will soon be able to play the highly acclaimed survival game on their Xboxes and PlayStations. The console port of the game is expected sometime in 2021. And of course, it is highly anticipated. So with the game being announced for the consoles, it is natural for players to also expect a Nintendo Switch version of the game at some point in the future. A Switch port for Rust has not been announced nor spoken about by Facepunch and those involved in Rust, at least nothing official or that is known to the public. And to be completely honest, I think that in the pandemic, the developers are likely still hard at work on those console versions of the game, but that is not to say that there could not be a Rust Switch version in the future. I don't know. Though Rust would not be the first survival game that has come to the Nintendo Switch, for ARK Survival came to the Nintendo Switch a couple of years ago, and well, it's fair to say that it did not get great reviews. It was not at all received well by the Switch players. There were just so many problems with the game. It came as a surprise to many people that the game was coming to Switch because the game was not the smoothest thing to play on consoles, so things did not bode well for the Switch version where the hardware is significantly weaker, and I think that those reservations turned out to be justified and correct.
I'll put two screenshots up here that I took for the screenshot function that captures it directly, and that'll give you an idea as to kind of what you're looking at if you're walking around in handheld mode. The frame rate drops a bit as well. This is going to be an interesting one, I'm going to tell you that, from Digital Foundry when they get their hands on this and start checking it out, because I was shocked.
Loading into the game took ages, the visuals weren't great, a lot of terrible textures were popping in and out of the screen, the game did not feel great to play either, everything was clunky and stiff. A whole catalogue of problems made this game a complete disaster and an absolute failure for the Switch. So with all of those things in mind, what would happen if Rust came to the Nintendo Switch? Would it be as bad as ARK is? Well, no, I don't think it would be like that. I think the quality of the game would be really nice if it came to the Switch. Knowing Facepunch, they probably just wouldn't bring the game to the Switch if it ended up being terrible. They would just cancel it. Even if it did have problems, the developers would probably just get things right after a while if they decide to actually commit to it. I think that a really good way to think of this is, remember when Rust was still early access on PC? It had its fair share of problems, but since release, it is one of the most well-polished games you will ever get to play. So I think we would definitely get the quality if it did come to the Switch, because that is what the Rust developers tend to produce, over time at least. Also, an important thing to note is that if they get the console versions of the game running silky smooth, then that is already a really good advantage over ARK, because ARK wasn't good on consoles initially. So really, if Rust ends up being really nice and smooth on console, then a port to Nintendo Switch and a full release on Nintendo Switch is definitely something that could happen. I think that the Rust developers would be able to optimize the game very well for Switch, but then again, I'm not a game developer, so you'll have to see what happens when we get there. Oh, another really good example as well is The Witcher 3, which runs really nice on Switch, and if it was well received by Switch players, then who says the Rust can't run well on Switch? I mean, if The Witcher 3 can, then surely Rust can. There is also the fact that another version of the game is likely a long ways away. What if there was a new Nintendo by that time? Most likely a stronger machine than the Switch. Well, then you would definitely conclude at that point that Rust would perform very well on it. There may not be many development problems, who knows? It's hard to tell. See, at the end of the day, some you win, some you don't. And at the end of the day, the PC remains the best place to play Rust for many reasons. The consoles soon will get a slice of the awesome Rust pie and will likely enjoy a fantastic experience on the game. And hopefully in the future, Nintendo players will also get into the mix, and if the Rust developers' track record is anything to go by, then we can expect a great Nintendo port of the game. But for now, guys, that does bring us to the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Rust content. Hit the bell too so that you don't miss out on any future videos. We'll see you guys next time, but until then, take care.